hasn't done the premiere yet.
Broadcast is live.
Yeah, he's got to do. Smart, where we're going to be talking about things and heavy things, light things, lovely things, good things, bad things. And tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about sexual predators versus non-predators, and predators just in general. Like, I mean, in this, and by the way, let's not just exclude this to the ladies only. I know some men who have experienced sexual predatory behaviors from women, and so that's gonna be the topic tonight. We have the lovely co-host Sydney and the lovely co-host Arlena tonight on the show. So ladies, I mean, as an opening to this topic, right? I mean, predators sound just anyways, right? What are your views on it? And then have you ever experienced any personal
anytime you go to Walmart, there is a predator around the lane.
Oh my God.
Every time.
A day-to-day walk. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my. So what would be, to those who are watching, because we kind of briefly had a discussion backstage, right? What is predator versus non-predator? Like, what does that mean? Am I
I don't know. You tell me. I'm like, I don't know. I've never really thought of it that way. To me, it's like a predator's a predator.
Yeah, like there's no.
Darvin, it's predators.
Oh, sorry. This is water.
You've hit the liquor a little too early.
You can pass it this way, you know.
Predators, sexual and non-sexual predators. So we're not just talking about sexual predators. We're not just talking about R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. We're talking about other type of predators that come after you for your money, and all kinds of other things. Okay, relationship predators, all that stuff.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Thank you from the lovely Keone and the production crew.
Well, you know what they say: behind every woman is a strong man.
Okay.
I'll take it. Okay, so he's got me back in line because I've had too much wine. Which is true.
Hey, everybody sometimes doesn't realize what they're talking about on their own show. That's good. You know, it works.
As long as you get back.
Good goodness. Okay, so let's talk about it, because there's so many different layers to sexual predators.
Yeah.
Right?
There is. Right, what he said about the relationship predators, I didn't realize that was a thing until he said it. I was like, I've actually lived through that. So yeah, it's definitely, it's out there and you have to be aware of it. In fact, I know a few people in my life right now that are dealing with relationship predators. They feed off of that person to satisfy their needs, and they're not really too concerned about the other person's need. It's just, what I want. That's what I feel a relationship predator would be.
Drunk boots.
You targeted at someone. I don't know.
That was a boomerang, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are watching out there in YouTube land. I don't know. We'll just keep going. Arlena, that's a wonderful pinpointer there. You have people that prey on people for certain needs. One of the things I experience and I've seen in the past, whether it be family members or people just in general, some men are predatory when it comes to big women with insecurities. They prey on them because they feel like maybe that woman has a lot of insecurities, and they plug in to those insecurities and make that lady feel like she's everything when they're just using her, or they know that she'll give them everything they want to keep them around.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. That goes with women who are naive. I've experienced that before. I'm being transparent. I've experienced that before 10 years ago, and it's a thing. It's a thing. You know, it's a thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's sick.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and he's even saying like money. Think about that. People who get, you know, people who go for people for money. I mean, that's a big one, and that's both genders. But
Yeah.
That's
really.
Thank you for pinpointing that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I had that happen to me financially. It was just, and you know what? I had a thirst and a hunger to be a part of something, and they preyed on that thirst and hunger, and they manipulated it and used it for something of their gain. It's crazy.
Yep.
But I've learned something too. Oh, go ahead.
No, you. I was just saying, especially in the modeling and acting industry, that happens. They get you.
Yes. We were on the same page. So yeah, go ahead.
Take it away. That was all I had to say. Your turn.
But yeah, so like definitely in the modeling agency industry, like you have people preying on people on social media saying they're this, they're that, and people are, because they want to be this, or they feed off the people's desires to get what they want, and whether it is to gain their own pleasures or just well, I think a lot of it is pleasure, to prey on someone with knowingly doing it. There has to be some type of pleasure that you want out of it. My mom says, humans are selfish. We're always going to we're always going to strive to get what we want. And some people take that a step further and become predators to really get what they want. So
True story. This gentleman has now turned from porn individual to like pastor. But that happened to him early on, him wanting to be in the industry. And a lot of people in the LA area, I'm from California, and a lot of us as actors and models and people wanting to show themselves in the entertainment industry, we have a thirst and a hunger that is just beyond like, this fire, right? And so he was that individual. Long story short, there were two women sitting at a restaurant because, a lot of people in LA, they waitress, they either work, they do some type of just to kind of keep the float because they need a job that's going to be flexible while they navigate through auditions and stuff like that. Well, there was two ladies sitting at the booth, the table, having a discussion. He was a good-looking guy. They preyed on his good looks, and they invited him into the porn industry. And it was a spider web that years later, 5, 6, almost 10 years later, he could never get out of it. And he said, I started out just wanting to be an actor. And I thought that would be okay, just kind of doing that for that one time and leaving. But when the money kind of was a lot compared to his, living circumstances, he took another job and he took another job and he took another job. And before you know it, he was hating himself. This thing goes so many different ways, especially in this industry. So with that being said, what would you say would be some solutions to avoiding this type of predatorial behavior, or how to filter or sift them out? What do we do? How do we know? How can we find out? What are some red flags that...
First of all, if they're selfish and I don't know. I feel like people who have to do that a lot of times people who prey on people to a point got to be somewhat narcissistic to me.
Yes.
And so it's about identifying those traits to me. And sometimes it's about educating yourself on what a narcissist is, or educating yourself on a predator. There's all different definitions. Some of them, like you're right, aren't as clear as day in your face, like one I will tell you about. But sometimes it's like you are dating somebody and you're too far in, or it's, I don't know. I say look for the narcissist.
Yeah. Talking about dating someone and being too far in, right? When you're too far in, does that mean if you've ignored a lot of the red flags along the way?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Because a person like that is going to give you red flags. If you are somewhat conscious, you know what I mean? Like you have to be, to me, if you don't see any of the red flags, you would have to be somewhat
blind,
naive and blind.
naive or like I'm saying, like floating through life. Like you are not paying attention.
Not paying attention. Yeah.
Right, but like you see those traits, and anybody I've ever dated or anytime I've seen those traits, I always have that red flag, and I've ignored it because other reasons at times like, oh, it'll get better. Whatever. You always have that naive way.
Sydney, that's so good. This is. I don't want to skip past this because a lot of us do this. We hope we see potential in a situation, and we put potential over the reality.
Yes.
Beautiful
that's
way to say that. Yes.
I remember you from acting class. Correct me if I'm wrong. You had an amazing info. Thank you. Gregory, we see you.
Yes, I'm sending all the love.
Yeah. We're gonna join in on that.
There we go.
And so we, a lot of times we'll put potential over reality, and we think the potential will be strong enough to push out the reality, remove the reality, mask the reality, and in the end, the reality is really what's real.
Right. You need to wake up.
I mean, I think that's huge. So. Oh my goodness, what do we do when we see like?
I mean, I can give you an example of like
because you're older now, you're mature now, you're seasoned. Because we're gonna keep going around the same mountain until we get over that.
Yes.
We overcome it.
To experience to understand how to move past it, or to understand to see those red flags. Yeah. Sometimes you have to experience it, but that's scary because you don't
know if it'll come out.
Yeah. So it's like. Unless like I said, I told you guys this. I grew up with, my mom is a brilliant woman. She's a social worker. I mean, she knows a narcissist from a mile away. She can see it. She does therapy and everything. She counsels people. So my mom sees those. And like, I feel like, how other people grow up and my daddy taught me how to shoot guns or how to, do martial arts or whatever kids do or basketball. My mom taught me how to notice a narcissist. You know what I mean? So yeah. But it still didn't protect me because I still ignored red flags when I was young and dumb. You know what I mean? And so.
So here's the thing. I love that. I love that your mom taught you that. Do you think individuals, right, avoid the red flags because it's a level of strength that should be developed within that person that's ignoring it? There's some insecurities there. There's passive
insecurity all the way.
Avoiding conflict.
Yeah, I was so insecure. You know what I mean? And now that I'm older, I'm like, I can't even believe how insecure I was.
Can I say a cuss word? I don't know. Production, speak to me, because I'm gonna say bump that.
Yeah,
I want to say it.
And you can say whatever shit you want to say.
He said you can say whatever shit you want to say.
Side note, that has nothing to do with anything. Can you change my name in the screen?
You said what?
Can you change my name in the screen?
You have to do that when you sign in. That's the name you put in there.
So everyone's gonna have my email.
But thank you for calling me out in front of the audience, though. I did it. As if I did it. I have no control over what you name yourself when you enter the studio.
Okay. Gosh, I have to pay attention to that. Okay.
Next week she's gonna be Cleopatra. Watch.
I might. Okay, so I think one of my things for avoiding a narcissist or predators or people who are very manipulative and oh my goodness, you have to go through it to know the difference.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly.
Or educate yourself on it and look for those red flags.
Right. Or educate yourself to look for those red flags. So my thing for being so passive with an individual was because it ain't no more. I don't give a shit who you are. Okay. I will cut the conversation so fast. Because people that are syrupy sweet and that'll twist it and make you think, or they will ask you questions to see if your answer is a doorway for them to understand if you are vulnerable or not, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things I used to do was avoid speaking up for myself because I feared conflict at that time because, because it was so much. It just felt so big. It was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But now I will
try me. Now I say try me. Like try me.
I want it. Wait it. I am ready. So
Dominique, you know why that you are the way you are now versus then, and same thing with Sydney, is because with those situations that you went through, you learn from them.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Or you listen to someone that was telling you, hey girl, there's a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you move out of that. But if you never take the opportunity to listen to someone or learn from those situations, you're always going to keep repeating that cycle or get stuck in it.
Hold on. No, you know what? Before other people gave me the advice, before I learned from all that shit and all the experience and stuff like that, fuck that. Listen, my gut told me, and I ignored what my gut said.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that thing where they said something don't feel right, I ignored that, and every time I ignored it, so I started listening to the spirit within.
Yes, the spirit within, honey.
The spirit within.
So, okay, so not to change the dynamic, but we have our predators that are like, under the cover, they swoosh their way into a relationship. But then you also have the blatant predators that come right through you. And I used to have that all the time when I served at Red Robin. I was a server at Red Robin. Well, I'm about to blast Red Robin. Not that I'm blasting them, but it was at Red Robin. So, But when I was a server there, right, almost weekly, I would say every week, at least once a week. And we were in a mall, okay? You make good money there. I loved it. But every week, two girls would come in, 2 young girls, because they think girls are automatically going to trust girls. But not no more, because now these little girls are getting trafficked young, and they're coming in and getting people. And people are falling for it. Like in Target, young girls are coming in saying, I lost my mom. And then you go out to the parking lot following them, and then boom, you're gone. But it's a real thing. And now people are doing it with perfume, where you go up and they're asking you to try their new, smell their new perfume they created. You smell it, you're gonna be out black. But anyway, so
hey, you guys have done a lot of shows. I don't interrupt as much, but I want to, especially when it's a public service announcement, what Sydney was saying, they're trying all types of new things. There's been a thing lately in the news where women have come up to the door and there's like a napkin or a piece of trash on their door. A young lady, she touched the napkin and it absorbs through your skin and it got poisoned. And they went to the hospital, and it wasn't enough to identify what it was, but it was enough to make her sick. And if it gets enough to make you sick and drowsy, you can be, not to be
doing that with
fun and say the movie and say Taken, but and it's not to make people fearmonger, but just knowing
aware,
right? Like that thing with Sydney saying, if you see something, always go with your first instinct. If you see something, your senses are there for a reason.
Yes.
Why would a napkin just randomly hanging from your door? That just tells me something ain't right.
They follow you until you're out, and then get you. So you have to be. They're doing it with flyers and business cards too. Listen, if anybody tries to hand you things, just say no, thank you. And if you still are persistent, that's how you know, because you don't want to grab anything from anybody. Okay, just don't when you're in public. Nobody needs to hand you a business card. We got cell phones now. Okay.
Anyway, because I feel like it just goes in the trash. So I tell them, keep your pamphlet. It's just going to go in the trash.
Your pamphlet. Don't be following little girls out. If they're lost, stay in Target or wherever you are and get the Target people and call the police.
Exactly.
Or find the parents. Do not leave the building. Do not fall for that. Okay. So anyway, sorry. I'm at Red Robin. This happened weekly. There would be 2 young girls coming in. They couldn't be like, they were 18 maybe. I knew they were young. And they would come in and be like, so are you getting paid well? And I'd be like, yeah, I love it. I mean, it's quick, easy money. I'm in college and I'm able to afford an apartment by myself and everything. So I was like, yeah, I'm good. Like, and she was like, well, I could get you a job that's way higher pay. And she's like, if you're interested after your shift tonight, just meet us across at the parking lot across from here. They would ask me every time, just meet us there. And my boss is going to come and he's going to tell you all about the job. How many young naive girls would fall for that though? Like you throw money at people and and I would look at those girls like, I know what you're doing and no, thank you. And please leave. And then I would go get my manager and say they need to go. And then I would get them out, and it would happen weekly. And if that didn't happen, there was couples coming in trying to get you to do a threesome with them. I mean, it was constant around that area in Pensacola. Yeah, Pensacola.
Wow.
So yeah, it was like a lot around there. And I live in Tampa, and Tampa's like sex trafficking city. So like, you know what I mean? It's not any safer, but you just have to be aware of that stuff. Don't fall for people offering you jobs. Don't fall for those texts that they're getting now. You guys get those texts where it's like a girl and she's like, hey, I'm looking for my friend Julie. And then you text her, oh, sorry, you have the wrong number. She's like, hi, what's your name? And then they try to talk to you. And then if you talk back to them, then they'll say to you, they'll be like, hey, maybe we should meet for coffee or something. I need a new friend in the area. People go, they meet up, and boom, you're gone. I get those texts all the time. I got one literally last week, and it was this girl, and it was scary because she was talking about names I work with, asking for our boss, Darvinique, that we work with. And she was like, I'm looking for, and I was like, I texted back, and because I didn't have one of that employee's number yet, because now I'm doing monitoring. Crazy. I didn't make numbers. But I caught on quick. I said one text back, and then by the time they responded, I was like, this is wrong. And then I blocked the number. So you have to be aware of those. You can't even trust texts anymore.
Oh my, whoa. Oh my, that's a mouthful, and I have to process. That is
my wife almost
sounds like a business. That sounds like a business that they're running. That sounds like a whole system.
It is. It is insane. I'm not even kidding.
Arlena, Sydney, that's incredible. I thank you for bringing that into tonight's topic, because it's going to bring awareness in some areas that people like me didn't even know that, oh crap, I'm going to Pensacola next week. My eyes will be peeled. Great, Gregory.
You'll be fine. Pensacola is lovely. I just was a server there. You're going to be fine on vacation. Now, I would stay on St. Pete Beach, or Pensacola. Sorry, I live in St. Pete. But Pensacola Beach, because Pensacola Beach is awesome. And it's beautiful. So enjoy Pensacola Beach, go to it. But you'll be fine. Just don't go with anybody. You know, if just be safe, Gregory. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
I promise. I lived there for like 5 years. I was fine. Try me.
So here's the thing, right? Because we're talking about sexual predator versus non-sexual predators. I hope I said that right. Production crew, jump in and hold me on that, okay? I took a few more sips up until this point. Here's the thing, Arlena. I want to hear more from your personal experiences, some things that you faced, and how did you overcome them, and what was some red flags maybe that you wish you would have avoided then, and the ones that automatically is a no-go for you now.
Well, off gate, some of the things that Sydney said, just that person that was just like, either too attentive or not attentive enough. And those that were not attentive enough, I was like, I need to make sure they know I'm still here. I'm texting them, calling them, showing up. It was like I was doing too much, but they were feeding off of it, because anytime they would contact me, like, oh yeah, I'm coming. Wherever you want me to be, I'm there. But they fed off the fact that, I can call her whenever I want and she'll be right there. Not thinking that eventually she's going to get tired of me ignoring her. And when I call her, she's not going to answer. And eventually I did, because I can get, we talked about earlier, me not getting upset, but I can get upset and push to that point. I do get upset, but in the upsetness, like I told you earlier, you have to learn from those things. And I'm so grateful now. I'm married with a wonderful man, but it's because of those mistakes that I did make. I don't regret any of my mistakes, because
I don't regret any of my mistakes. I'm going to come back to that. She says she's married. She looks 12, ladies and gentlemen.
I have 2 kids. Yeah, married with 2 kids.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, continue. This one depends on how young and vibrant you are. Hi, Alyssa. Welcome to Pretty Smart.
But yes, I don't regret any of my mistakes, because those mistakes made me into who I am today. Yeah. And brought me to the place where I am. But I will say this, the mistakes that I did make, some of them could have been avoided had I listened to someone that saw those red flags, or had been through something I had been through and tried to warn me ahead of time. Like Sydney, she was get us aware about, what's going around with the smelling of the, the perfumes and things of that nature. That's how we help those people get to that point, by sharing our own stories, telling them, I've been through this. This is what happened to me. So they can say, okay, well, she's been through this. I'm seeing some of the same things that she went through.
Mm.
Let me not stick around because it may end up the same way it ended up for her. So that's pretty much
The wise person learns from other people's mistakes. Yeah, and
testimony.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Thank you, Alyssa, for the love. And thank you, Arlena, for sharing. So this is such a heavy topic, right? This is such a heavy topic. You have to grow from mistakes, if not wasted opportunity. Okay, that's true. So with that being said, with this being a heavy topic, we have people that are, sexual predators that we see that are blunt and live and just in the open, like Sydney was saying. And then you have those that are sexual predators that are not, that refrain from going into the public, and they stand on the internet side of things, right? Yeah. How do we avoid that? I mean, it's not necessarily that we can avoid them, because at some point it will present itself to people, us, right? How do we filter through that? How do we know? What do we do? I mean, because we have children in this world that will be approached from these type of individuals that have profiles that look like other children.
Yes.
Behind the screen.
If we're talking children, it all comes down to the parents. You gotta let them know, educate your kids. Stop trying to mask them from the bad stuff and let them know what happens. Yes. You tell them it's out there, like that girl, actually that happened in Pensacola. It was a girl. Remember the viral video where the guy came out to grab her and she fought him off, and she was a little girl. She fought him off and ran. Yes, that's what we need to be teaching our kids. Teach your kids to fight. Don't talk to people. Don't talk to strangers. My 10-year-old brother knows, and I have conversations all the time. If somebody comes to you and says they're looking for their puppy, what do? Run back to you, scream, stay away.
Don't go find that.
Nobody needs to be talking to you. You're 10, so teach your kids, start with the parents. Let your kids know what's happening. Of course, you don't want to traumatize them, but let them know what they need to be aware of, especially your young teenage girls. Your teenage girls. They need to know what's going on. They need to know about the napkins and about the perfume.
And not going to the bathroom by themselves.
Yes.
We have someone chiming in. My nephew used to leave the door unlocked or open. And for anyone who knocked, I showed him a trafficking video. He's stunned.
That's what I'm saying. It stopped it immediately. Now you won't do that, will you? So sometimes it's got to be tough love to keep your kids safe. Let them know what's going on.
Yeah, you have to do that. Go ahead. Whoever, please continue.
I was just saying, these kids, I know. So go ahead.
Well, I mean, I'm a mother of two. I have an 11-year-old and I have a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And my 11-year-old, she's very knowledgeable for her age. She's so smart. Thank you. She's so brilliant, and her level of intellect just impresses me, because when I was 10, I was like she's 11. I keep saying she's 10. She's 11. But when I was her age, I was still in La La Land. I was in La La Land for a long time, right? And one of the things that Sydney said that stands out to me, that my mother and my sister said, they said, tell her the truth. Don't sugarcoat anything. Talk to her about the real world, how kids can be involved with sex trafficking, how other people can stage these certain events. So we watched a scenario like the guest who just sent us that message. You have to show them. And then eventually, and so she's aware. She's like, nope. Mom taught me early. Kick, scream, scratch, bite, pull.
Yes. Bite your off. Pull an ear out. I don't care. Poke their eyeball out.
Yes. That's right.
Whatever you got to do to get away.
Yeah.
My 4-year-old knows that. He's like, he'll stay like, I'm gonna hold your hand because I don't want to get lost. Like, he is not stray away.
I love that.
Yeah.
People don't get in the car. Somebody, if they ever hold the knife to you and they say, get in my car, I'd rather get stabbed and have my chances of running, because once you get in the car, it's over.
Oh my goodness.
Pretty much.
If you have a gun to my head and saying, get in my car, you're going to have to shoot me, honey.
Okay, I'd rather be
dead. Get in that car with you. So, bye. See you later in the next lifetime, Pete.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's so true. So here's the thing. We've spoken about, these sexual predators, right? Mm-hmm. here's the thing. We talked about it from a perspective that it happens. We're looking at it from outsiders coming in.
Yeah.
But what about the people that are inside? Family members, cousins, uncles, right?
Yeah.
Aunties, because there's women out there that do this shit. And
you're right. It's not just men, it's women too. Now it's
It is.
a lot lower, but it is true. Women are predators too.
so how do we, what would you say to your children, family members? Because a lot of times when this happens, it happens starting from within the family.
Nice.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be an adult. I've seen children,
They do.
molest other children.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And, so let's talk about that.
Well, I would say, first of all, and I've always been a believer of rehabilitation, because there's a root to everything. I don't believe that people are just born evil. I think there's always a root to anyone's way of thinking. And to get to that root, you have to first sit down and talk with them. What's going on? What happened? Because a lot of times, especially like when talking with what happens in the family, it happened before. It happened to them, and they're carrying it on. So I would say, let's start with, let's get into the root of the problem, and then let's start the rehabilitation versus just, you're bad, get rid of you. We're done with you. Because that's only going to make it worse. And then if they can't get it here, they're going to get it somewhere else.
Good point. I know.
So we're asking this as it pertains to, let's be clear. We're asking these questions as it pertains to another child on another child.
Just in general, across the board, everybody needs the little, because it could have happened to them when they were younger. And then as they got older, because it was never addressed, it just got bigger.
That is very true. Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
They do say a lot of people who have done any type of molestation, rape, usually have been themselves.
And it doesn't have to be just sexual, because we're talking about sexual and non-sexual.
Yeah.
These things of verbal abuse, or feeding off of people because I'm gonna get what I want. They saw it growing up. If it was done to them, some people feed off guilt. They'll guilt you into doing things, and maybe that's how their mom or dad raised them, and that's all they know. So getting to the root would definitely help birth maybe a solution. But maybe they're just a wire may be loose. I'm not sure, but getting to that root may help you figure out whether that wire is loose.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Sydney, go ahead. Time in. Yeah.
Oh, I was just like saying, woo, this is a deep convo.
It is. It's really deep.
Yeah, this is heavy.
One of the often conversations I have with my girls, both girls, my 3-year-old, she understands me. There's no baby talk there. And my 11-year-old, I'm very thorough and very clear. I just tell them there's no sugarcoating. You don't touch anyone's private. You don't let anyone else touch your private. You don't put your mouth on anyone's private. Okay, I'm smiling because when you get grown, when you start doing grown things, it's kind of like when I gotta tell my child that, I'm like, well, damn. Anyways, okay.
Have it talk later.
It's to this situation.
We older, we'll have another conversation.
I tell them not to do this, and anyways. You don't allow anyone to touch your privates. You don't put your mouth on anyone's privates, and you don't let anyone, vice versa.
No pictures.
No touching. No naked. You don't look at anybody naked. Come on. Yes, sir.
No, I guess I'm just interrupting y'all a lot today. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, but as a person who was a victim of older kids or adults doing sexual things to them as a kid, all the things you're saying is very true. I teach kids, and sometimes, like, there was this one little girl. She's so sweet. She loves to hug. She's a hugger. It's like the sweetest little girl ever. And I'm sitting there teaching one day. I have my legs open. I'm sitting there and I'm teaching, and I turn, and she immediately runs in. She's in between my legs to give me a hug, and I grab her and I push her to the side, and she looks so sad. And I said, "No, look, you don't do that. You don't do that."
Yeah.
Some people are scared to say things to kids, but it's like, no, that's for their benefit. You don't do that. I'm not going to do anything to her, but we just had an issue at the restaurant that I help out at, where we have a girl that the owner's niece was there, and she's 17, and this gentleman says, "Oh, you haven't been here in a while. I've missed you." He said, "Are you doing such and such?" She goes, "No, I'm 17." He goes, "Oh, I can't believe I've been having dreams about a 17-year-old." And so when he came in another day, we were like, "We can't serve you. You gotta go."
Yeah.
So it's
Gone,
crazy
dude.
out there, and I just want to say thank you, Darvinique, and you guys for talking about the people that are in your circle. I talked to Darvinique earlier, and I talked to Weenie, who's Gregory on here on his show on Monday, about how I hated To Catch a Predator because it made us focus on these men and women who are lurking on the computer, which they would try to get hundreds of them and lure them, and they would get like 20. Because most people on the computer, that's where they're trying to stay. And we got so focused on that, and we forgot about the major danger, which is the person, Uncle Tommy, and Cousin Loretta, and Jimmy, and Pastor Troy, and all these people that are right around you that have all this access
Youth group
to
leaders,
your family and kids, and we ignore that. So while you looking on at stranger trying to find him on the internet that lives in Montana, you live in Florida, and I hate to say this, but why your uncle's doing naughty things to your daughter, that's what they need to be paying attention to.
Yeah. And it's true. And you're so right. You're right.
And son, sorry. Didn't mean to be so script, but it's a very passionate topic. And then what makes it worse as a gay male or a person who had to used to identify as a gay male, it makes it worse because you have people who look at us and go, "Oh my God, they want our children." And gay guy thinking about
absolutely, John. I feel that.
Your 9-year-old can't do nothing for me. Okay. And so again, it's another distraction of looking at this over here and ignoring that person that's right in your face.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, that's so good. They sit right in the room. This is a true story. Thank you, Keone, for sharing that. Keone on the production. A true story. And this actually wound up getting televised. It was a family. A family just moved into the neighborhood, and the neighbor welcomed them to the neighborhood and became friendly, did errands. The snake is always slippery when he enters the room, right?
Yeah.
And so, did favors for the family. They let their guard down, and he was a predator to their daughter.
Oh,
Yep. And so it started off with these elaborate favors. Yeah, I'll run to the grocery store. Oh, don't worry. Yeah. Oh, let me get this for you. Let me purchase this for you. Let me do that. And it let their guard down. And then once the guard let down, it was an opportunity where, the family had to leave their daughter behind. And he goes, "Oh, I'll watch her." Yeah. And that's where the snake came in. People that we like, know, and think we trust. Listen, I'm coming close to everybody out there, internet land. Yes, this is a show pretty smart, and that's what this is all about, right? You know what I'm saying? Very skeptical. I sleep with my eyes open with my babies.
Heck yeah.
I'll say that.
Sleeping with me. Okay, doors locked up.
It's crazy though. Like growing up in my time, like we could just go anywhere and come back before the street lights were off.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
My mom was like, "Come back before dinner."
They
You know where I was all day. Like I was out riding my bike.
Broad daylight.
Well, see, y'all done brought me back again. Now, Sydney, here's the
Might as
thing.
well just say.
Here's the thing that I always say about that, because people will bring that up. Well, back in my day, kids were more freer. If you look at the statistics, less kids are kidnapped and less kids are being kidnapped and sexually abused than it was even in the 80s and 70s. It wasn't that this wasn't happening. It's just that you may not have heard about it because it happened 2 towns over or 3 times over. And then here's the other kicker. A lot of times when it happens, we didn't say anything, especially who didn't say anything, especially boys.
Yeah.
Right? It happened to a lot of boys that were just out freely playing and doing those things, and it happens to them.
Yes.
But the parents would go, something's wrong with him. He's just in a mood. no, something just happened to him.
Yep.
So
Right.
it was happening. It's just
No, absolutely. I'm not saying it wasn't.
coverage
It's
wasn't
just
there.
crazy how back in the day that's how it was, and now
Mhm.
if I even had a 12-year-old, you think you're just gonna go walk out the door?
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna drive you
That's
to your friend's
scary.
house, and then I
I'm
need
gonna
somebody
sit in the yard.
doesn't have an uncle or an older brother or
Mm-mm.
somebody else in that house, you know?
I had to tell my first fiance that because her son had this they used to play dates with
Mhm.
this girl. I forgot her name, and I don't want to say her name anyway. And then my fiance got busy. She said, "Hey, can you take her home?" I said, "You coming?" "No, just drop her off." I said,
Nope.
no. She was like, "Why?" I said, "They know you. First of all, that family has never met me. And you
Mhm.
want me to just pull up to their house and say, 'Here's your 8-year-old daughter'?"
No.
Insane.
You were very smart.
And if that kid just thought I did something in that car, there's nothing I could say to convince anybody else otherwise.
Yeah.
Don't let your good be evil spoken of. That was smart.
I was gonna go there. Hold on. Wait. Yes. Abstain from the appearance of evil.
Yeah.
That happened to a guy that lived in my neighborhood. He used to be very good with the kids. We used to always go over there. He'd give us all cookies, all things. That makes it sound like the typical person to do this, but he really was doing it. So this girl, she was about 9, accused him of doing something.
Wow.
And so, you already know what happened after that. I don't have to tell you the story. But then people start to slowly doubt it, because usually when somebody comes forward and says something happened to them, more people come. It's about 30 kids that be around there, and not a single other kid said anything happened. Well, come to find out, the little girl was mad because he gave everybody cookies that day, and when she got there, he ran out of cookies. And earlier that day, she saw a stranger danger video in school. So in her little mind, that was a way to get him in trouble because she was acting out. Now, the story got recanted. The little girl told the truth. But do you think anybody ever looked at him the same?
No.
No.
He had to move.
It can go other ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
I'm not saying that happens a lot. Just a story that I experienced personally.
But it does.
It does happen. It's
Crazy. Yeah, it really does. I think my mom was really good at this stuff. Like, there would be weird things, like people around, neighbors, other people, and they'd always be like, "Oh, do you think you could," like when my brothers were younger, they'd be like, "Oh, do you think you could, your son could come over and do yard work for me?" Blah, blah, blah. Mom would be like, "No."
Awareness is key to minimize the number of incidents. Also, promoting therapy and openly sharing stories help. Alyssa,
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Very
girls basketball coach. Ooh. Yeah.
Yes. We went to the girl. Yes.
Yeah. I know we're coming to a close here on tonight's episode on Pretty Smart. I want all of us to share 3 in total, right? Some pretty smart solutions to encountering these situations. We've got predators on the internet, predators within family, and predators who just prey for relationships.
Yeah.
Alina, I'll start with you.
So my solutions to all of this. Well, first of all, you have to get to the root of the problem. So our first solution should be to deal with the predators. And then secondly, to rehabilitate those victims that are going through it, and helping them see those red flags and avoid them the next time.
Yes.
So
That's good. Sydney.
I mean, mine's similar. One, I say keep yourself updated on what predators are doing now, like the napkins and the things. Keep yourself updated. Like, there's always people sharing stories. Listen, if you go to TikTok, you can hear a lot of that. I watch a lot of police officers on TikTok that tell us, like female police officers that will tell us new things that they're getting. Mm-hmm. So there's that. Then do your research, and pay attention. Trust your gut. Pay attention to the red flags, okay? Anything that's weird, that you feel weird, don't be embarrassed to be rude, okay? Say no. Get out of my face. Don't be polite anymore, okay? We don't need to be polite. Okay? And then last one. I don't know. That was it. That was my closer.
Such a pretty smart perspective. Yes, get nasty with it, get mean with it, get bold with it. Stop playing it sweet, stop playing it pretty, and get pretty smart with how to
Yeah.
protect yourself. My thing is, piggybacking on what both of the two ladies said here tonight. Thank you, my co-host, my lovely co-host of tonight's show. Educate your children. Be open with them. Be honest with them. Stop trying to protect them from a world we think is so dangerous, and let them know the dangers that are out there. And then as outside of from the children, going back to what Sydney said, listen to your instincts, because we as adults still face predators, sexual predators in this world, and we can fall victim if we don't have a boundary, if we don't have education, and if we don't know how to navigate through such a world. So I thank everybody for being a part of that. I love all the insight and the pretty smart advice that everyone shared tonight. We love you. We're sending hearts and love out there in internet land. Stay tuned with us. We'll talk about the next episode that's coming up, and make some pretty smart decisions in this world when it comes to predators, right?
Yes.
You guys have a wonderful night.